When the Googans are out on the waterway, you better get out of the way. Welcome back, crew, to this episode of Googans of the Week. Now, I know sometimes it's hard to spot the Googans when you're out there. Other times, they'll let themselves be known pretty quickly when you see them doing things that make you scratch your head. Like this situation here, I'm still not sure why they didn't go to the actual dock versus trying to run this up the slick ramp, but they wound up paying the price for it. Now, obviously as a boater, when I see something like this, it's real easy for me to identify they're not doing things just the correct way. But even for non-boaters, sometimes the Googans will do things just apparently obvious so you know they're out there. Now, I know what you're thinking. How in the world did that truck wind up in the water like that? Well, we've talked about this many times before. The Googans love being out there in the water, and they will always find a way to get out there. It doesn't matter if they have a boat or not. They'll just go out there and get on the water anyway. Now, typically when we think of the Googans, we think of captains going out there making some boneheaded moves, but sometimes the Googan will just be the friend the captain brought with him who decided they were going to bring the red wine on the boat. But the reality is, who's really at fault in that situation? The friend or the captain who allowed it to go on? Other times, we're going to see captains out there really making Googan moves and again, identifying themselves as that Googan out on the water that you probably need to avoid. And speaking of avoiding things, this is probably one of those situations you would like to avoid, and that's being out there on the water with a Googan captain. Now you're asking yourself now, how do I avoid this one, BG? Well, I know that's easier said than done, but it just takes a little common sense. If you've got that friend who you already know likes to take a few extra risks here and there, they probably are one of the Googans you don't want to be out there with. So if they come up to you and invite you to come out on the boat with them for the weekend, you definitely want to second guess what you're getting yourself into. And then sometimes it can even go the opposite way. If you've got that friend who's super conservative, sometimes they can wind up being a Googan as well, and it might be a dumpster fire trying to get out there on the water with them. Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Googans of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit us up on Facebook or Instagram and let us know, and you might see your stories over here. Just like David Klein, Miami Boat Ramps, Van Mitchell, K. Ross 5224, Jesus Rojas, Max Chick City, MC Hotwork, Miami Mariah, Mike McFarland, and mostly Mariah did this week. And if you haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here.